We've been working closely with Currumbin Wildlife Hospital Foundation for the last couple of years to look at how human impacts are affecting coastal raptors or coastal birds of prey. They get thousands of animals every year, and once they've rehabilitated these birds, and sometimes that can take months or years, what happens to them once they get released? We wanted to find out if this work that takes months and months and costs thousands of dollars, is it beneficial? So we're using two different methods. The first is leg banding, which is a pretty common practice. Those leg bands have an individual code, and if they're brought back to the hospital for whatever reason, the vets and vet nurses can see exactly who that individual animal is. The second method we're using is GPS tracking. We can watch their exact movements from when they're released for months and months at a time until they fall off. They're solar powered and they're only 15 grams, the ones that we're using, which is really, really light. We can put those on the back of a bird, but you can only put them on larger birds because even though the trackers are really light, the birds are really light too. So we want to make sure that we're only using birds that are big enough to be able to carry these devices, that it's not going to hinder them at all. We tracked two white-bellied sea eagles. One was a mature female and one was an immature male, so two completely different animals. The adult female, we tracked her for about 5 months, but we ended up losing track of her due to device failure. I do believe that she's still out there somewhere now. The immature male we tracked, very exciting to watch his movements. He moved around a lot, which I guess you'd kind of expect from a youngster that doesn't really have a territory yet. His tracking ended at 7 months when he had come across a fishing net that had been illegally set and was unfortunately caught and killed in that net, which is really, really sad. After all the work that gets put into these guys, it was horrible to see until he came across this human impact. It was great to see that these rehabilitation efforts, they really do work. He wasn't coming back to the hospital, he wasn't seeking out people for food, he was way out west where there weren't many people. But yeah, also it highlights just how dangerous some of these things can be to these birds, not just illegal fishing practices, but regular fishing practices. If people leaving lines and hooks around, we found that to be the most identifiable impact for coastal raptors in this region. So doing this work is really important because we wouldn't have known that otherwise.